The sun hung low over Jerusalem, casting long shadows on the dusty streets as the city prepared for the annual Passover festival. It was a time of celebration, of remembering the deliverance of the Israelites from Egypt. But this year, something was different. A man named Jesus of Nazareth, a carpenter-turned-teacher, had become the center of controversy. His words, his miracles, and his growing influence had stirred the hearts of many, both the hopeful and the fearful. Jesus had claimed to be the Son of God, the promised Messiah, and his message of love and redemption had reached the hearts of many. Yet, it also angered the religious leaders, who saw his growing popularity as a threat to their power and influence. The priests, the Pharisees, and even the Roman authorities were all watching, waiting for an excuse to silence him. But what no one expected, what no one truly understood, was that Jesus had come to die. His death would not be a tragic end, but the fulfillment of a divine purpose that would echo throughout history. The day of his crucifixion began like any other, but it would end in a way no one could have imagined. Jesus was arrested in the Garden of Gethsemane, betrayed by one of his own disciples, Judas Iscariot. He was brought before the high priests, accused of blasphemy, and then handed over to the Roman governor, Pontius Pilate, who, despite finding no fault in him, sentenced him to die. The crowd, once enamored by his miracles and teachings, now cried out for his execution. "Crucify him," they shouted, their voices filled with anger and fear. Jesus was whipped, beaten, and forced to carry the cross through the narrow streets of Jerusalem. His body, broken and bruised, could barely withstand the weight of it. Yet, he walked on, his silent strength carrying him toward his fate. As he was nailed to the cross, the crowd gathered, some mocking him, others weeping. Jesus, raised high above them, gazed down at the people who had rejected him, and with his final breaths, he spoke words that would reverberate through the ages. "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." In that moment, the world seemed to hold its breath. The sky darkened, and the earth trembled. The veil in the temple, which separated the Holy of Holies from the rest of the world, was torn in two, a symbol of the new access to God that his death had made possible. Then, with a final cry, "It is finished," Jesus gave up his spirit. The ground shook violently, and many who were watching were filled with fear. The Roman centurion standing at the foot of the cross declared, "Surely, this man was the Son of God." The silent sacrifice seemed like the end. Jesus had been buried in a tomb, sealed with a stone. But this death, this ultimate sacrifice, was not the end. It was only the beginning. For 3 days, the world mourned. But on the third day, something unimaginable happened. Jesus rose from the dead. His resurrection proved that death had no power over him, and through his sacrifice, he had conquered sin and death forever. The silent sacrifice of Jesus was not a moment of defeat, but a moment of victory. Through his suffering, he had opened the door to eternal life, offering forgiveness and salvation to all who would believe. His death was a demonstration of God's love for humanity, a love so deep, so relentless, that it would stop at nothing, not even death, to offer redemption. As the years passed, the echo of Jesus' death and resurrection reverberated throughout the world. His followers, once fearful and scattered, became bold witnesses of his life, his death, and his resurrection. They spread his message of grace and forgiveness to every corner of the earth, transforming cultures, societies, and hearts. The message of the cross, of sacrifice, has endured through wars, revolutions, and countless generations. His death became the ultimate symbol of hope, the beacon of light in a world filled with darkness. And so, the death of Jesus did not simply echo through the ages. It resonated, changing everything. It continues to call people to the cross, to the love that conquers all, to the silent sacrifice that speaks louder than words ever could.